This is my 67 International pickup. It runs great, but the first thing I noticed when I bought it is that it leaks more oil than the Exxon Valdez. You can see the cardboard underneath there that I'm using to keep the floor clean. And unfortunately, they don't sell Depends for half-ton pickups, so I decided I better take a look at it. What I found was oil leaking from pretty much everywhere. I mean, the front main, the rear main, the valley pan, oil pan, pretty much everything. So I decided to start going after this. So I pulled the intake manifold off, pulled off the valley pan, bought new gaskets, put that together. And then I crawled underneath and pulled off the oil pan. And that's when I discovered this. And this is what I found when I took the pan off. Looks like cam bearing. I'm kind of amazed that this thing runs as well as it does right now. It doesn't miss, doesn't have any funny noises, but it's clear that it's going to need some help. So I know rebuild's going to put it out of commission for a long time, so what I decided to do is start looking around for just a decent used motor and just use that as a kind of a get-by motor while I take my time and learn to rebuild this other motor. So I watched Craigslist, and this is what I found for 150 bucks, a complete motor, everything from the oil pan all the way up to the air cleaner. And brought that home and cleaned it up just a little bit and put it on a stand, hooked a battery to it, and lo and behold, this is what I got. So you can see it's running. It's not running great. The carb was really gungy, but it didn't have any funny noises and seemed to be in decent shape. The guy I bought it from told me it had good compression in all the cylinders. I think it was around 110, 120 all the way around. And so I put a fresh carb on. I just rebuilt the carb, put that back on, and it runs even better. So what I'll do now is tear it apart. It's also got oil leaks, so I'm going to do all the seals, gaskets, and see what else there is to fix on it and do it on the cheap and get it back together. And this is my temporary motor. So as I was cleaning things up, getting ready to put in my freeze plugs, I thought I should pull, there'd be a plug right here. This spot is actually got a water tube. So that runs from the water pump down to the head. So I thought I should take those out and clean them up. And I'm glad I did. Because if you take a good look at this water tube, I put it on the wire wheel and cleaned things up, and I found a couple of holes. So must have got a little bit of rust in there. It's kind of weird because it's the part that goes on top. So you wouldn't think that's where it would sit, but that's where it rusted through. The other one, there's another one on this side that was nice and solid. So I will attempt a repair on this. I'm going to try to solder this. Don't know if it'll work, but got nothing to lose, and if it doesn't work, I'll go out to the junkyard and find a replacement. Alright, soldering was a fail. So I'm going to try welding this now. This is fairly thick metal. I'm sure it's real thin right here where the holes are, but got nothing to lose. All right, there it is after a little cleanup with a flapper disc. I think that'll work out. I think I put enough weld in there to build this up. You can kind of see on the inside how it came through, so I wasn't too worried about grinding it fairly flush with the old surface because I wasn't going to go back through that weld. So I'll put a little bit of pressure on this and confirm that it's a complete seal, but I think this is good to go. Alright, here they are all painted up and ready to be reassembled. I think they turned out great. This is the one that had to be repaired, and unless you look on the inside, you wouldn't know that this one's been welded. So those are good to go. This is a harmonic balancer. And you can see this surface right here isn't the best. It's pretty grooved. Now putting a new seal in means I've got to do something with this surface. So I'm going to use a speedy sleeve to put a fresh finished surface on here. Now this is the speedy sleeve. This will go down right over the top of this. And it'll go down about a 1/2 inch just to get below this little camphor here. It comes with this cap that we put on top of there just to drive it in. I'm going to start by putting a little bit of Permatex Indian head on here just to seal it up. A little more. All right, there is what I've completed so far. If you stuck with me through this lengthy video, I'll just give you a quick walk around. I still have to put the distributor back in and wires and do a few other items. But the next video that I put up will be a test run of this again. I want to do a couple things, make sure it's not leaking, that all my seals are good. I want to run it a little bit longer, listen to it, make sure there's no funny noises. And I'd like to run it for a period of time to make sure everything's working right. I can't really do that without a cooling system. So I've got this old radiator, and I'll get that mounted up there. Don't know if I'll need a fan on it, but I can run coolant through this. This will give me a chance to run it for an extended period of time just to work out any other kinks and make sure it's working before I go to the trouble of pulling the motor out of the truck and putting this one in its place. So thanks for sticking around, and we'll see you again hopefully soon.